Namaste and Satnam Yogis. I'm Tracy and this is Yoga Union, where people unite in a quest for wellness of body, mind, and spirit. Whether you're a yoga virgin or a seasoned practitioner, Tracy's Yoga Union has a place for your mat. So let's roll those mats out and get started. Today's practice is for the mid-back, that area where the ribs come around and connect to the chest. Mid-back pain, unfortunately, comes with aging, but luckily some good yoga movement can help strengthen and loosen the muscles that are along the spine. They can help your sleep, improve our posture. And as you can see, I have on my comfy clothes today. You don't need anything fancy to practice yoga. If you don't have a mat, a blanket, or your carpet, and any kind of clothes that are comfortable, that you can move and be flexible in, are all perfect. So let's work on that mid-back first by finding a nice mountain pose. So we want our feet to be about hip-width apart. We really want to imagine that we are lengthening, coming up out of those hips. And along with that then, we begin to straighten out that spine. We'll inhale those shoulders up and back. Leveling out our chin, and gently close your eyes to focus in on our breathing. So we want to take big inhales through that nose, and as we inhale, we're filling up that low belly. And then long exhales also through the nose. You're pulling that belly button back to the spine. And throughout our practice today, maintain those deep breaths and long exhales through the nose, filling up and releasing the air from that low belly area. All right, here we go. Inhale those arms up and overhead. Interlace those fingertips and then push up through the palms. So your fingertips are interlaced and you are pushing your palms up to the ceiling, up to the sky, almost trying to touch, stretching out through the length of the spine, can even lift the chin a bit. Breathing as we straighten and stretch here. On an exhale, begin to tilt to the right. So now we're stretching out the left side body. We want to keep those ears and arms close together, still pushing out through the palms of the hands, and breathing. Inhale to center, keep that stretch going. So stretching up through the palms, creating space through and on either side of the spine. On an exhale, over to the left. So now we're stretching out the right side body. Again, keeping those ears and arms close together. Stretching out through the palms of those interlaced fingers. Inhale that stretch back to center. Now on an exhale, begin to round that mid-back. We're dropping our head between our arms, still stretching out through the palms and those interlaced fingers. Only coming about halfway down, not a full forward fold. But feeling that stretch there in that mid-back. Inhale gives us some strength to come back to center. Oh, and on an exhale, release those arms down. Maybe roll those shoulders out. Shake it out. Great. So one more standing posture to continue to work here on our lateral, on our sides, right? And that's going to strengthen the length of the spine, those muscles on either side of the spine. So we'll step those feet wide. Doesn't have to be super wide, so whatever width is comfortable. We do want the outer edges of our feet to be in alignment with the short edge of a mat if you're standing on a mat. The knees aren't completely locked, so let them be loose a bit. And you might even want to tilt those hips forward just a bit. Now we're going to move the right toes. So we want those toes now to be pointing that way towards the short edge of the mat. We're going to bend that right knee so that the knee and the ankle make a nice line. We're going to rest that elbow on that bent knee. And now we're going to arc that arm up and over. Our fingertips are probably pointing there where the wall and the ceiling meet. Again, the ear and the arm are nice and closely connected. And we're stretching out from fingertips to the edge of that straight leg. Inhaling and exhaling deeply as we hold this posture. And on an inhale, we can release that top arm, unbend that knee. We'll straighten those right toes up so they're facing the long edge of the mat. Kind of come back to this first position where our legs are nice and wide. Unlock those knees, tilt that hip again. Now we'll turn those left toes to face the short edge of the mat. Bend that left knee so that the knee and the ankle make a nice straight line. Keep the front of the body facing the long edge of the mat. Bend that elbow on that bent knee. And then arc that arm up and over, keeping it close to the ear. And again, our fingertips now are reaching for where the ceiling and the wall meet. We're stretching out from those fingertips to the outer edge of that straight leg and its foot. Taking nice big inhales, long exhales as we straighten out and stretch and strengthen along the length of that spine. Use that inhale to release. We can heel toe those feet together. Maybe give those knees a little shake out there. Let's come back to that mountain where our feet are about hip width apart. We're really straightening that spine, rolling those shoulders up and back, leveling out that chin, closing our eyes, focusing on that breath. but also bring some mental awareness to that mid-back. Note how it feels after a bit of movement. And we'll keep checking in with that mid-back. We're going to move to tabletop, so we'll use just a mini sun salutation to get there. So come to the top of your mat. Same position as we were in our mountain. Inhale those arms up and overhead. Bring those palms together. We exhale, bring those palms through to heart center. And then start to hinge and fold forward. Let those arms hang. You can let the head hang. We're just as loose as a rag doll here. So let the weight of the head and the shoulders add some length and some pull to this forward fold. And then we'll plant our hands by our feet. Step one foot back and then the other. So here we are at the top of a push-up or a plank pose. And we'll set those knees down. Line up our knees and our hips, our wrists and our shoulders for tabletop position. Preparing for some cat-cow. So on cat-cow, we're going to use the inhale to lift the chin and let that belly drop. Notice when the belly drops, it's the mid-back that's curving. On your exhale, tuck that chin and round that mid-back up. Inhale, lift the chin, drop that belly, that mid-back. Exhale, reverse that by tucking the chin, really rounding up through that mid-back. Inhale, opposite direction here, lifting the chin, dropping the belly. Exhale, tuck that chin, round that back. And we'll bring that tabletop back to neutral. We'll stay in tabletop and try our bird dog. So a little balancing and continuing to strengthen and loosen that area on either side of our spine. So on an inhale, we're going to lift that right arm and that left leg. We're going to keep the foot flexed so the toes are pointing towards the mat. Fingertips are pointing towards one wall, the soles of the feet to another. So we're stretching out again from fingertips to heel. Breathing here, balancing, building strength in the length of that spine. Exhale, gently release, arm and leg down. And we'll do the opposite side for our bird dog. So maybe reestablish here, lining up our wrists and our shoulders, knee and hip. And inhale, lengthening out through that left arm and right leg. Stretching out through those fingertips, keeping the toes flexed. So you're stretching out through the sole of the foot, through the heel there. Remembering to breathe, don't hold that breath. Keep the energy moving through the body. And exhale, slowly release that bird dog down. Now we're going to prepare for child's pose. Now for me, I like to have my legs a little bit wider, so I'm going to widen my stance here, my knees. I'm going to cross my legs before I push back into my child's pose. What this does is help protect my knees. So if your knees need a little protection, you might try widening the distance between your knees and even crossing at your ankles. So maybe a little bit of experimenting here, but eventually we're going to push back. And so your bottom is pushing back, knees are bent, your arms are stretched out in front of you. You can rest your forehead on the mat. And then you might even try to walk those fingertips out a bit, imagining that you're creating space and length all along either side of that spine, in between each vertebra, and really feel that lengthening, that strengthening there right around the mid-back. So we're going to turn our child's pose into a thread the needle. I'm going to start with my left arm. So I'm going to leave my right arm outstretched. I'm going to turn my head to look to the right. And then I'm going to bring that left arm underneath the body. So I'm looking towards that arm that I've thread through underneath my body. My ear is resting on the mat. My arm is extended, palm up, resting on the mat. My top arm is still extended like it was in child's pose. Palm resting on the mat. Thread the needle. And so a little twisting here. Twisting of the spine. The body's turning a little bit to the front. Now let's release that left arm. Come back to that child's pose for a few breaths here. You may need to release that for a minute. Come back up to your tabletop. If your knees are bothering you, you could also push up to a down dog. Anything to try and release things a bit. And as we prepare for the other side of the thread the needle, you might even try to cross the opposite ankle on the top as you push back into that child's pose. And I just gave it a try. For me, it doesn't work for one of my knees. So I'm going to come back to that original cross. Push back into that child's pose again. And we prepare for thread the needle on the other side. So we're going to turn and place the other ear on the mat as we bring the right arm through and underneath. So the ear is resting on the mat. The arm that we've thread through and under is on the mat with the palm up. And our top arm is still outstretched with the palm on the mat. If it feels like your bottom is sticking up in the air, see if you can use some exhales to go a little bit deeper. And on an inhale, bringing that threaded arm back through. One more nice stretch here in the child's pose. And again, if it helps, to come back up to that tabletop and to release those knees a bit just by pushing up into that down dog or making a triangle, right? Whatever helps here. We'll come back to that tabletop for a few more rounds of that cat-cow. So here's where we inhale and lift the chin and drop that belly. Really feel the curve in that mid-back. Exhale, tuck the chin, now curve that mid-back in the opposite direction, pushing up. Inhale, let that mid-back drop, chin lifts. Exhale, round it and tuck that chin. We'll bring that back to neutral again. We're going to come on down to our bellies. Prepare for Cobra and for Sphinx pose. So for Cobra, our legs are out straight behind us with the tops of your feet on the mat. We're also going to rest our forehead on the mat. Our elbows are bent. Your arms are straight or nice and tight in at your sides. Palms right here at your chest. And on an inhale, we begin to lift head, neck, and chest into Cobra. And so you should feel that mid-back. You're using the strength there. Almost see if you can pull your elbows back to your waist. Breathe here, holding the posture, creating that strength in that mid-back. And on an exhale, very slowly release down. Try and touch first your chin, your nose, your forehead. Release those arms down. Let those toes turn in. And turn your head to one side. And release everything. No tension. Let all parts of the body just sink into the mat. And we'll bring that back to center. Just like we set up for Cobra the first time, we'll prepare for Sphinx pose. So tops of the feet are flat, elbows bent, arms tight in at your sides. We're going to inhale first into that Cobra. And then we can start to bring those fingertips out. Begin to rest our body on those bent elbows. Again, really dig those elbows into the mat. Feeling that mid-back engage here. Our hips are on the mat, knees, tops of feet. It's about right at the belly button, where your body is no longer touching the mat, but your forearms, your palms are flat on the mat. And use an exhale to slowly release down. Turn that head to the opposite side. Release those arms down. Toes into the center. And relax, release everything. Let that mid-back relax. Imagine you're breathing into that space. So you inhale strength and flexibility into that mid-back. As you exhale, exhale out the pain and the tightness. And from here, we'll push back into that child's pose again. So legs wide if that feels good. Crossing at the ankles. Sitting back, letting that bottom release down. Arms are stretched out in front. Maybe even walking those fingertips out a bit. And allowing, if it can, that forehead to rest on the mat. Inhaling back up to that tabletop, and we'll come to seated. And we'll sit with our legs straight out in front of us. Our toes are still flexed here. So we're pushing out through the soles of the feet, seeing if we can get as much of the backs of our legs touching the ground as possible. And then just bring your arms to your sides, lifting up out of those hips again, letting those shoulders relax down, leveling out that chin. And so we'll do a little twisting here, twisting of the spine. So keeping the legs in this position, we'll take a nice big inhale here. Exhale, just begin to twist and turn to the right. The arm behind us can be our support. And the other arm can maybe be a little lever to help move us into the twist a bit more. And then we finish off that twist by turning our chin and our eyes to look over that back shoulder. Maybe imagine on an inhale that back straightens. Exhale, you move a little bit further into the twist. Inhale, release back to center. Maybe check back in with those feet, pushing out through the soles, engaging the backs of the legs, straight spine. Inhale. And exhale, begin to twist and turn to that opposite side. So the back arm, we're resting on that hand. You can use this front arm, maybe for a little bit of leverage. Finishing off the twist by turning the chin and the eyes to look over that back shoulder. Inhale, straightens the spine. Exhale moves us a bit more into that twist. Inhale back to center. Maybe shake those legs out a bit. And we're going to move onto our backs. So as we come onto our back, we'll keep our knees bent first. And just allow that back to sink into that mat. Let it release. Couple breaths here just to allow the body to transition to a new position. So we're going to prepare for bridge pose. And so our goal with all of our moves here in this sequence is to strengthen and to loosen or create more flexibility in that mid-back. And so here we'll do some strengthening with bridge pose. So our knees are bent. You want to bring your heels as close to your bottom as you can get them. Knees are probably not touching, but close together. Arms are nice and tight in at our sides with the palms down. Maybe a little tuck of that chin, and we want to keep that head still when we are in the bridge, so we don't want to move the chin or neck from side to side. So on an inhale, we begin to lift the bottom, the low back, and that mid back. And usually you finish a bridge pose right there at the bottom of the shoulder blades. If you can tuck those shoulders under and clasp your fingers. And then you want to push up through the hips and also push through the heels of the feet. Allowing for some big inhales to fill up that belly and exhales to pull that belly button back to the spine. Keeping those knees close together. Now to release, if you have those shoulders tucked, untuck those shoulders. And then slowly start to come down one part of the spine at a time until that bottom is resting. And let that back again just sink into the mat. And we're going to end with just a few leg lifts and then legs up. The leg lifts will help strengthen the core. And if we have a strong core, that then helps support the back. So legs are straight, toes are still flexed, arms can just be gently resting at either side of the body. And just some gentle leg lifts, right? So with an inhale, we'll lift that right leg 90 degrees. Exhale, release it down. Not fast, nice slow and controlled movements. So inhale that left and exhale it down. Inhale the right. Exhale the right. Inhale that left leg. Exhale it down. Inhale the right leg. Exhale down. Inhale left. Exhale down. Inhale the right. Exhale down. Left leg up and down. 3 more. Inhale the right. Exhale it down. Left leg up. Exhale it down. 2 more. Inhale right. Exhale down. Inhale left. Exhale down. 1 more round on each side. There's our right. And there's the left. Now we're going to focus on just the right leg. So inhale that right leg. Exhale it down, but don't let it touch the mat. Inhale that right leg again. Exhale it down without touching the mat. Inhale up. Exhale down without touching. Inhale up. Exhale, just hover it right above the mat. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale lift. Exhale lower. 3 more on the right side. Exhale it down. Inhale lift. Exhale down. Last one. Inhale lift. And exhale. Let that right leg rest on the mat. Now the left leg. Inhale lift. Exhale lower, but don't let it touch the mat. Inhale lift. Exhale lower. Inhale lift. Exhale lower. Inhale lift that left leg. Exhale lower without touching the mat. Inhale lift. Exhale lower. Inhale lift. Exhale lower. Inhale lift. Exhale lower. Inhale lift. Exhale lower. Last one. Inhale lift the left leg. Exhale lower and let it rest on that mat. Couple breaths here. Alright, now we want to tuck those hands underneath our bottom. Gonna try just a few double leg lifts, right? So tucking those hands underneath the bottom gives that back a little bit of extra support. So keeping those toes flexed, really pushing out through the heels of your feet. Use an inhale to lift both legs 90 degrees. Exhale, slowly release them down. Don't let them touch the mat. Inhale, lift back up. Exhale, nice, slow, controlled lower without touching. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, lift. And now we're going to keep them here. You can move those hands out from underneath the bottom. We want to keep those legs straight, pushing up through the soles of the feet. Arms resting gently at our sides. Feeling our back really press into the mat, into the floor. Imagine that if there were a wall behind your legs, that Like when we were sitting and doing our twist and all parts of our legs were on the floor or mat. Now all parts of our legs, if there were a wall there, would be touching that wall. Coming back to those nice big inhales and long exhales here with our legs up. And we'll end with happy baby. So begin to bend those knees, bringing them into the armpits almost. Grab onto those feet on the outer edges or inner, whichever's more comfortable. So you're pulling down on the feet, knees are bent, coming towards the armpits, legs are wide, pressing that back even more into the floor, into the earth. Happy baby. And we can release those feet down to the mat. Straighten those legs out a nice distance apart. Allow those feet to flop out to either side. Bring those arms a comfortable distance out from either side, palms up. And we've made it to our final relaxation, Shavasana. Quiet body, quiet mind. A few very important breaths here where our body, our mind, and our spirit can process all of the yoga we've just done to help strengthen and make that mid-back more flexible. You are enjoying Shavasana. Stay for as long as you can remain conscious with a quiet mind and still body. When you're ready to release, you do so with just some gentle wiggles of fingertips and toe tips. Maybe a nice full body stretch, this time pointing the toes, stretching out from toe tips to fingertips. Bending those knees and gently coming to one side. And pushing up to any kind of seated posture that's comfortable. Because for a lot of us, a cross-legged, easy seated pose is not. So you could make a letter 4 here with your legs, so bending both knees over to the side. You bring those feet back out, legs straight. Or maybe over to the other side. Whatever is comfortable to end the practice. I'm going to take a nice big inhale up, bringing those palms together, and then to heart center. Namaste and peace, yogis.